Oh, hi there, folks. So, here we are. After the trials and tribulations of the first two parts, we are at the endgame, the peak of the Adam Sandler saga. It's finally time to review the last 14 films of Sandler's career. At this point, Sandler's shows have been played out, everyone knows his films, everybody knows who he is, and so many of his films just feel the same way at this point, just kind of mesh together. This new era of Sandler's is a combination of what we've seen before, but also contains some surprises that shows that Sandler still has some spark left in him. But enough time wasted, let's get into what you guys are really here for. Let's start the show. So Hotel Transylvania revolves around Dracula, voiced by Sandler, who runs a high-end resort for monsters in another dimension from the human world. But when an average guy Jonathan, voiced by Andy Samberg, both of the Wait, did I already make that joke before? When he starts a formal relationship with Dracula's daughter Mavis, voiced by Selena Gomez, Drac and his buddies try to stop this relationship, as he and Jonathan clash throughout the movie. Hotel Transylvania is easily one of Sandler's best career choices, especially in recent years. It looked like it was going to be terrible considering Sandler's previous animated film, and coming from an animation studio that doesn't have the best track record, don't worry Spider-Verse, I'm not talking about you, you're precious. All the red flags on my head are going off, but in reality, it's actually a really solid movie. It's really entertaining. The animation is super stylish and energetic. Every shot is so creative and grabs your attention, along with the unique designs from the characters to the locations that makes it feel like actual effort was put into the film. Another major aspect that really works is that it's really funny. Not every joke hits, but because of how energetic the film is, the creative use of gags and how the monsters are used, with the monster movie stereotypes, or for this world along with the dialogue, which is handled really well from the voice acting, that's also top notch. Especially Sandler's Dracula and his banter with Jonathan. Constantly trying to one-up each other, that was even better than it was in the That's My Boy. It all feels original. It's a strange idea, but it's executed in a fun way that the whole family can enjoy. There are issues in the film lacking some substance, feeling more like a TV episode rather than the film, but it does help with the fast pace. There are a lot of kids movie tropes and cliches that are in the film that do make it feel out of place at points, and there are a few nitpicks, but as a whole, it's a spooky blast of a movie. I give Hotel Transylvania 4 out of 5 Sandlers. If this doesn't show that Sandler makes movies to be with his friends and go on vacation, I don't know what will. The film follows our gaggle of goons from the first film, minus Rob Schneider for some reason. Wait, wasn't he working on the acclaimed TV series?
Hey, mind if we take a selfie?
Sure.
Rob Schneider is da derp da derp da deedly derpy.
Never mind. The elders had to move back into their childhood town as they come across former bullies, crushes, Shaq as a cop, cliff jumping, and so many other wacky antics. Do I really need to explain this movie any further? It's a typical Sandler film. A film made to be around his friends and go on vacation with his family. I don't find it horrendous because like the first film, I do have some nostalgia tied towards it. Let me say it this way. If you enjoy Adam Sandler getting pissed on by a deer in the opening scene, and then later that same deer attacks Taylor Lautner, then this movie's for you. It's a dumb fun time, but is it a good movie? No, I give Grown Ups 2 out of 5 Sandlers. So the final installment in the Stanley Barrymore trilogy revolves around two people played by Sandler and Barrymore, no surprise, who after having a bad blind date, end up stuck at the same resort in Africa as they start to form a relationship as hijinks ensue. Blended is a lot worse than Sandler and Barrymore's previous two films. It does have solid acting, good production design, everything is done well technically, but here's the thing, it's not funny. And that's the hard thing about comedies. Everything can be well done, but if your film just isn't funny, everything falls flat. The writing's very lazy and cliche, it doesn't feel as personal as The Wedding Singer or 50 First Dates, and it feels way more commercial. It's really annoying, none of the characters stand out, and the film as a whole just isn't memorable in the slightest. That's basically all I got to say about it. It's exactly what you expect from a modern Sandler comedy and nothing more. I give Blended 1.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around a cobbler in a shop who lives his life regularly until one day when he realizes he has magic heirloom powers that allows him to become the person he's shining their shoes for when he puts their shoes on. The Cobbler is a very strange movie. It's a really weird mix of Sandler's wacky ideas in the style of Click or Jack and Jill, but has a lot more of a somber tone to it, which I felt wasn't a good tonal shift. There is some fun to be had in parts and Sandler is good in the lead once again, but there are scenes when he's trying to be somebody's husband where it gets very...
You there?
Yeah?
Come here.
Oh, you garbage.
creepy. Like a lot of the other films I've previously talked about, it's not really memorable and not much stands out about it. It's competent but nothing special. I give The Cobbler 2.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around Brenner, played by Sandler, an average TV repairman who was once an arcade whiz, beating multiple records in classic arcade games that was recorded onto a shuttle and launched into space. 30 years later, the shuttle gets captured by an alien race and goes to Earth disguised as these classic arcade characters to take over Earth. So Brenner decides to get a team together to destroy the monsters and save Earth. This is a really fun concept that has a lot of potential to it, and although I think it's far from Sandler's best comedy, I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. It's a fun ride to tell well by the cast, especially Peter Dinklage, who steals the show in this. The special effects are well done and very creative with how these icons are used in the story. The film's fast-paced and entertaining, and the film knows what it is and rolls with it. There are some big issues in the film, focusing on some boring aspects like the romance that's really underdeveloped, Josh Gad's character that's super annoying, but I do find it funny how all the crazy aspects in the film about these arcade characters like Pac-Man eating cars and Sandler finding Donkey Kong, that the most unbelievable aspect in the film is that Kevin James is the president. Corey in the House could have been a better candidate if he wasn't going to prison, but as a whole, I think it's an enjoyable movie. I give Pixels 3 out of 5 Sandlers. The film mostly revolves around Dracula, John, and Mavis. When Drac becomes a grandpa, when Mavis and John have a baby, he and his buddies try to train the baby into being a vampire like him. Hotel Transylvania 2 is a sequel that many people were worried about, including myself. Like the first one, considering Sandler's previous track record before this, it seemed like a desperate move. But surprisingly, it's a really good follow-up. The film still contains that fast-paced energy from the first film, and we get more time with Drac and his friends, and his connection to his grandson that's very charming and hilarious at points. It's a natural progression in the story from the first film, and it's really entertaining throughout. There are some issues in some characters, like John and Mavis. They get silent, and the film doesn't really have much of a plot per se. It basically feels like a bunch of Tom and Jerry skits spliced into an hour-and-a-half runtime. And because we don't get a lot of John in this movie, the central dynamic that made the first one so good is kind of gone in this movie. But as a whole, although it's not as good as the first one in my opinion, it's still a really good sequel. I give Hotel Transylvania 2 3.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The Ridiculous Six is the first one in Sandler's new age of doing films straight to Netflix.
He shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
After his most theatrical films at the time were doing much of the box office that weren't animated, Sandler signed a deal with Netflix to make some movies for them, and this is the first film of a new era for Sandler. The film revolves around Sandler as an outlaw raised by natives, who discovers he has 5 half-brothers, as he goes on a journey with them to find their deadbeat dad. The Ridiculous Six feels a lot different from Sandler's other films. It still feels like it's made in the Happy Madison warehouse, but it's like they got the rise of the insert movie parodies to write a Sandler movie. It feels so conventional and the comedy is so forcing in so many pop culture references. Even the title is a parody of another movie that came out around the same time, which they weren't even trying to parody. It's just not funny and really boring. The camaraderie between the main characters just isn't investing, the plot is generic, the style is lazy, and more than just makes this feel like a bad film. There are a few decent aspects to it, but as a whole, it's just another bad Sandler film to throw into the break, never to be mentioned again. I give The Ridiculous Six 1.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around Max and Charlie, played by Adam Sandler and David Spade. Charlie is a down-on-his-luck guy who meets up with an old friend of his Max at a high school reunion, who manages to convince Charlie to fake his own death, along with him, to start a new life, only to realize that they got themselves into more trouble. The Do-Over, although it isn't great, is probably my favorite comedic Netflix Sandler film. I do enjoy Sandler and Spade's chemistry, actually have some good jokes to them, due to them clashing with one another along with some of the scenarios they get themselves into being entertaining. The issue that plague the movie is that you have to deal with a lot of gross-out humor, the predictable plot twists, the annoying side characters, the unbalancing of plot beats and storylines, and more. It's not great, but if you enjoy Sandler films, you'll find something in this movie to enjoy like me. I give The Do-Over 2.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around the title character played by Sandler, a sketchy Hollywood talent manager in the 90s who gets a handful of clients, as the film follows his developing relationship with said clients as he tries their hardest to make their dreams come true. Sandy Wexler is... it's a movie. Sandler goes back to using his voice to accentuate his character. That's quite grating and honestly sucks the emotion out of a lot of his performance, which minus that voice is actually one of his better performances in his career. Other than that, the side characters seem interesting from the start, but like a lot of these Rise to the Star films, the development of the star and the manager growing apart is very cliche, and the film's one of the more slower paced Sandler films, but it's in a bad way, not only from the runtime, but also because not much of interest happens. There is good acting beyond just Sandler. I like the production design making this feel like the time period, and there's some good drama and comedy in there. It's just really subdued compared to other Sandler films, but I still wouldn't call it great or even that good. I give Sandy Wexler 2.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around an estranged family consisting of two brothers by Sandler and Ben Stiller, as they meet up with their family to celebrate the works of their father, played by Dustin Hoffman. The Meyerowitz Stories is not just another Sandler Netflix film. It's written and directed by Noah Baumbach, who's previously written films like Fantastic Mr. Fox and Frances Ha, and recently just did the Oscar-winning Marriage Story.
I can't believe I have to know you forever! Oh, you're yucking insane!
So this has more professional talent behind the camera, but also in front of the A-list cast. It combines all the ingredients to make one of the best Sandler films I think I've ever seen. Personally, my favorite next to Punch Drunk Love. Noah Baumbach always has this feel of privacy and perseverance of family in his movies, and he doesn't shy away from the family drama in this film, and the actors do a good job in covering these emotions, especially Sandler. He basically plays himself as a likable dad, but he can stop at any moment. Similar to Barry Egan. All the dynamics and subplots are investing in doesn't feel boring or slow, despite its very personal storytelling, because there's unexpected moments that pop throughout the film to knock you off guard, and leaves you wondering what's gonna happen next. But it all feels natural because of the way the film's crafted. This really shows what comedy people like Sandler and Stiller, who's also great in the film, can do well in drama, and this shows a hopeful future for Sandler beyond comedies. There are a couple issues and nitpicks, but as a whole, it's a great film that I wish more people talked about. I give the Meyerowitz Stories 4.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around two families who come together for a wedding, as the film chronicles the week of the wedding, as these families interact with each other and some drama ensues, mainly between the two dads played by Sandler and Chris Rock. The week of is not offensively bad, it's just a slog to get through. Like a lot of the other Sandler Netflix films, the film doesn't have much plot, the film isn't funny for a comedy, it has an overblown runtime, there's nothing memorable about it, there's no style to it, it's just bleh. That's the best way to describe it. There is good acting, and I do appreciate the closer and personal look at the build to a marriage, and some scenes do this concept justice, but because the film isn't investing or entertaining, it makes not one of the worst Sandler films per se, but definitely one of the most boring. To sum it quickly, it's definitely a typical Netflix original, through and through. I give The Week Of 2 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around Dracula and his friends and family as they decide to take a break from the hotel and go on a summer cruise. As Dracula comes across new allies, love interests, and foes, as he tries to have a good time and learn more about himself. Hotel Transylvania 3 is once again another breath of fresh air for Sandler's career. Like the first two films, after having a streak of bland or bad movies, he always comes back to this franchise, and somehow the formula isn't broken. It's another fun, fast-paced, funny comedy that completes both kids and adults. The film has a different style to it, because of the new locations, it makes the film feel fresh amongst the series, and not just another retread of what we've seen before. The voice acting is still well done, the film's emotions work for the most part, the animation is still fluid and the best looking at the series, and overall it's a fun film that I do consider actually better than the second film. There are some issues in the films not being super memorable. The character dynamics of John, Mavis, and Drax's friends are pushed back to decide to mainly focus on Dracula in the movie, which is fine, it makes the film feel more focused, but I do wish we got more focus on the side characters. And throughout the film, there are some case movie tropes and cliches like a big dance number at the end that do take me out of the film, but overall I enjoyed it, and I'm down to see a fourth film next year. I give Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation 3.5 out of 5 Sandlers. The film revolves around Nick Spitz, a New York officer played by Sandler and his wife Audrey played by Jennifer Aniston, reuniting 8 years after Just Go With It. As they both go on a European vacation together, they reunite their marriage, but they soon become blamed for a murder of a billionaire as they go on the run together to find out who was behind the murder. Murder Mystery is yet another middle-of-the-road Sandler Netflix comedy. It has big names, some funny comedy, but not a whole lot. Not much story, not much style, but like the other Sandler films of this nature, I like the acting, especially Sandler and Aniston, which the chemistry is a lot better than this movie deserves. And I do hope in the future they actually get to work on a good movie, considering so far they just chose the blandest milquetoast Sandler comedies. It feels manly quick just to get Sandler paid and to travel to Europe, which doesn't feel as exciting as his animated counterpart trip, which I just talked about, but I just don't have anything else to say about this movie. It's exactly what you expect and nothing more. No surprises, no tricks. At this point, all the tricks in Sandler's book have been played out, and this one just further proves it. I give Murder Mystery 2.5 out of 5 Sandlers. Man, I'm just so tired of Sandler just doing bland Netflix comedies. I just wish he did something different that wasn't just a drama. Uncut Gems revolves around Howard Ratner, a sketchy jewelry store owner, played by the same man himself, as the film chronicles him getting a rare stone containing many uncut gems, hence the title, that's supposedly worth over $1 million, as Howard tries to simultaneously pay off his debts to various loan sharks, but due to his gambling addiction, keeps losing his money, and has to find ways to get out of his predicament alive. Uncut Gems is a Sandler film that we've never seen before. We've gotten various shades of Sandler comedies, romances, and dramas, but not a breakneck, on the edge of your seat thriller like this film is. This film is made by the Safdie brothers, who previously did Good Time with Robert Pattinson, which was good, no no pun intended, but I don't think it was as great as everyone said it was. Thankfully, this isn't Improvement Over Good Time in my opinion. That does a different story, but it still keeps that breakneck thriller pace that Good Time had, that the Safdie brothers are known for. Sandler is fantastic as Howard. The film was written with Sandler in mind as way back as 2009, but due to his agent, he didn't get words as until nearly a decade later, and it was worth the wait. Sandler gets to play the scumbag of a gambler, but because it's Sandler, he gets to show the nice guy that he's known for, that brings his charisma with him in every scene he's in, that you want to see how he gets himself out of a hole that he's simultaneously digging himself deeper into. The cinematography is stunning and vibrant, especially the opening and ending credits. The film is edited to keep the pace up along with the writing and directing, creating this world with Howard at the center, and how he affects those around him. There are issues with it though. The bit when being a lot of the dialogue is overridden with characters talking over one another. That gets really annoying, and I wish we had more Tarantino Guy Ritchie style like dialogue that was promised in the trailer, because Adam Sandler is really great in the scenes that he's actually able to breathe in. There are some weird pacing issues that make the film feel uneven at points. The soundtrack is kind of weird, and I wish you got more from the villains. But for what it is, it's a great film that shows promise for Sandler's career and also the Safdie brothers' career for the future. I give Uncut Gems 4.5 out of 5 Sandlers. So that's that, Magic Man. I finally covered all 40 Adam Sandler films. 3 months worth of hard work has finally come to a close. Looking back at all these films, it really shows how much Sandler has evolved over the years, and although he won't be back to the way he was in the 90s, he's done a good job of making a comeback in different ways. From his stand-up and his filmography with the Hotel Transylvania films, the Myron Stories, and Uncut Gems, it shows that he can do more genre mixed films. With this, I do hope he takes more risks in the future, and not just do safe bets with Netflix. Overall, this is a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what Sandler does next. But before we go, I did promise at the start of this series that I would rank all Sandler's films once I was done with them. So here's my Adam Sandler ranking. Disclaimer, this is not based on my ratings per se. This is more or less based on rewatchability and memorability. At last place, number 40 is Shaq and Jill. Number 39 is Little Nicky. Number 38 is Going Overboard. Number 37 is 8 Crazy Nights. Number 36 is Blended. Number 35 is Ridiculous 6. Number 34 is Anger Management. Number 33 is The Week Of. Number 32 is Bulletproof. Number 31 is The Water Boy. Number 30 is Sandy Wexler. Number 29 is Reign Over Me. Number 28 is The Cobbler. Number 27 is The Do-Over. Number 26 is Grown Ups 2. Number 25 is Murder Mystery. Number 24 is Click. Number 23 is Just Go With It. Number 22 is Spanglish. Number 21 is Airheads. Number 20 is Pixels. Number 19 is Grown Ups. Number 18 is Bedtime Stories. Number 17 is Funny People. Number 16 is I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. Number 15 is Better Deeds. Number 14 is 50 First Dates. Number 13 is That's My Boy. Number 12 is Hotel Transylvania 2. Number 11 is The Longest Yard. Number 10 is Hotel Transylvania 3. Number 9 is Wedding Singer. Number 8 is Hotel Transylvania. Number 7 is Happy Gilmore. Number 6 is Billy Madison. Number 5 is You Don't Mess With the Zohan. Number 4 is Big Daddy. Number 3 is Uncut Gems. Number 2 is The Myron Stories. And coming in first place, number 1 is Punch Drunk Love. So that's my list. Leave yours down in the comments. I'm CBM Productions, signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.